Hey guys, welcome to a new video. We're going to be talking about the Arctic Monkeys, The Car. And I'm going to also talk about the new song they just released, There Better Be a Mirror Ball. And this ain't your dad's brainstorm. It's a little jazzy. Hey guys, after a long hiatus, we will have a new Arctic Monkeys album. It will be called The Car. It'll be out October 21st. And I made a predictions video last week when it was announced. And as soon as I got the editing done today, they released another song off of it, which was called There'd Better Be a Mirror Ball. So far we have 2 songs off the album, There'd Better Be a Mirror Ball. They released the studio cut today on YouTube. And they also have played I Ain't Quite Where I Think I Am live. So I will be reacting to those 2 tracks. I'll kind of extrapolate that and tell you what I think the entire album will sound like and what we can expect from The Car. So let me just first go through the track list because we have all the tracks listed. The first track, There'd Better Be a Mirror Ball, released today. Second track, I Ain't Quite Where I Think I Am. They played that live, so we have heard that. 3 is called Sculptures of Anything Goes. 4, Jet Skis on the Moat. 5, Body Paint. 6, The Car, which is the name of the album. 7, Big Ideas. 8, Hello You. 9, Mr. Schwartz. And 10, Perfect Sense. So just 10 tracks on this album. So just looking at all the titles, I mean, I could see it going very movie-like, kind of Great Gatsby-like, if you want to think of it that way. Or, like I said, if you could merge like Great Gatsby, The Doors, and Pink Floyd all together, I think that's what we could be in store for this album. So this will be coming from someone who wasn't a huge fan of Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. There were a couple songs that I really did enjoy. I loved 1 Point Perspective, Star Treatment, 4 out of 5, of course, The Ultra Cheese I loved. The other ones, not so much. American Sports I loved too. I understood the vibe they were going for, and it was definitely a vibe, and I really respected kind of the style and the whole like atmosphere around it, and like kind of what they were going for was really cool. It's just, I am very much a melody person, and this album had a lot of sections that were great, especially on She Looks Like Fun. That's like my go-to song where I'm like, the verse is great, but it's like interrupted by just so much chaotic stuff that it just feels very disjunct and I couldn't get into the groove of. And that goes for a lot of the songs across the board. I just felt like they were kind of like musical number sounding, where kind of during a musical, the pacing of songs change like throughout the song. There's a lot of key changes, there's a lot of like sporadic changes. That's kind of how I felt about Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino. So I'm really hoping The Car keeps a similar atmosphere and vibe as Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, which I believe they will, and kind of builds on it in a groovier, kind of more radio-friendly way. But to start things off, let's take a look. They just released this song, There'd Better Be a Mirror Ball, on YouTube today. It's their first studio release song off of this album, and I gave it a bunch of listens through just to kind of immerse myself within it and give my thoughts on that. So the first thing I noticed is it is very movie score-like. There's a lot of strings and a lot of just like kind of beautiful string passes through chords and a lot of vocals that are very like slow and emotional. And I find myself really enjoying them actually. The last album I felt like the vocals were a little like sloppy and kind of like overindulgent. And I did not get the sense from There Better Be a Mirror Ball that that was the case. They felt very earned. The song like kind of builds in like a very kind of methodic way and eventually kind of climaxes to like a very kind of movie ending. And I actually find myself really enjoying it. And I'll say this with I Ain't Quite Where I Think I Am. They played that live and I've listened to that a couple of times on YouTube. That sounds very like soul funk-ish from like the 70s. Like that kind of vibe goes with that. So I think we're gonna expect a lot of that kind of 70s soul vibe and possibly some even like Pink Floyd sounds or The Doors or even like kind of like Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, that very drum and bass groove with things over top of it. And as far as the instrumentation goes, it should be pretty similar to the last album. I saw on stage, they had, you know, the 4 original members, and then they had 3 additional members. One was on the Rhodes, one was on keyboards, just additional keyboards, and one was on like the synth drums that are also like kind of MIDI stuff, which could be a very cool compliment. Now I will say, if you're really into like guitar riffs and like loved like the fast drums and stuff like Brian Storm and whatnot, I think you might be disappointed with this album. It sounds like, no, the songwriting is more about the emotion, like kind of the vocals and like the overall orchestration as opposed to like riffs and like kind of like chops. Now, I ain't quite where I think I am. I listened to that a few times. I noticed, you know, there's a lot of cool kind of funky groove-based time kind of drum and bass things happening. And there's like a wah guitar, which I don't think we've heard before on anything that they've done. A very vintage sound, which I think goes back to the marketing of this album. I mean, all the artwork you see, it's kind of like that gold color. They're coming out with the cassette that you get for your car. It's very just vintagey looking and kind of retro 70s is kind of the vibe I get from the marketing even. And the front cover of the album, it kind of has like a very, it kind of gave me vibes like El Camino from the Black Keys. So just a lot of vintagey type sounds. And I think we hear that in the recording of There Better Be a Mirror Ball. The snare drums just sound so like tight and like just 70s. I don't know, it just sounds very analog. So overall, I think this will sound like a groovier version of Tranquility Base Hotel Casino. Tight snare sound, lots of organs, Rhodes, very analog, overly dramatic vocals. I think like thick layered tracks that will really build towards the end. Kind of like in a couple tracks on like Suck It and See, it's very like kind of vintagey, summering sound that you could hear like in a movie, like a Great Gatsby, like kind of, I keep saying, that's just kind of what I'm picturing when I'm hearing these tracks. And the last thing I will say is I really hope the vocals are in service of the song and not kind of just overly over the top where it's just like performed very loosey-goosey. I kind of hope that the song and the vocals work better together than what I thought they did in the last album. So there you have it, guys. Those are kind of my thoughts and predictions for The Car. Comes out October 21st. I'm super excited. Let me know in the comments what you think, kind of your take on what this album will sound like, what you're excited for, what you're looking for, and what you think this next style that they should go for is. All these albums are just different styles, and it's kind of cool to see their music evolve throughout the years. And make sure you subscribe and watch some of my videos in the future because I will be trying to cover a lot of these songs that come out. Kind of let me know what you think in the comments and I'll read them and try to reply.